18. Washing the truck in the bay at 5 a.m. because the senior guy told you to, and the senior guy doesn't ask twice. 2 decades later, you sign a payroll line that clears $457,625. Between those two moments sits a workforce of 344,900 firefighters, a median wage of $59,530, and a ladder almost nobody outside the bay actually understands. The truck you're washing has a number stenciled on the door, and that number will follow you for years. This is every level of a firefighter in America and what it actually costs to climb. If you like breakdowns of how careers actually progress, like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Level 1. The recruit. The starting salary is $102,048, and on paper that sounds like a lot. On the drill ground at 6 a.m., in 15.5 weeks of academy and 700 hours of training, it does not. The instructor hands you turnout gear, an SCBA, a Halligan, and a stopwatch. You have 90 seconds to mask up clean. You miss it. You miss it again. The hose coupling goes on crooked, and the line kinks at the doorway. The instructor doesn't yell. He just makes you reset, and the class watches. You learn the OCD wrench before you learn anyone's first name. You learn the tri-gated Y, the hydrant gate, the spanner, the IFSTA Essentials Manual sitting in your bunk at midnight. The journeyman, a senior firefighter on your shift, the one who's been here 12 years, corrects your radio voice the first time you key the mic. Routine traffic, not emergency. He says it once. You don't make him say it twice. Your day starts before the bay lights come on and ends. After the apparatus is restocked, the floor is mopped, and the next crew can find every tool exactly where it lives. You stop calling your mother back. You shoulder hose at the training tower until your shoulders forget they have nerves, and the foreman of the academy, a captain with a clipboard and zero patience, signs off on the evolution only when nothing is sloppy. You are still inside a 1-year training process, even after academy ends. Ready for Level 2? Level 2. The Probationary Firefighter. The Proby year runs through the 12th month, and the task book is a public record of every embarrassment you haven't survived yet. You answer the station phone at 3 a.m. and copy the run information clean: address, units, nature of call. Or you don't, and the journeyman corrects you in front of the captain. You ride the engine with your seatbelt clicked, your bottle on, your tool in hand before the wheels stop. At month 6, month 9, and month 11, you submit a progress report. You document at least 2 hours of training every duty day in the firehouse records system. The Proby before you washed out for missing sign-offs. They don't say it out loud, but everyone knows the empty locker. Your first working fire comes on a Tuesday at 2:14 in the afternoon. A 2-story residential. Smoke from the eaves. The captain calls offensive, names command, and you stretch the line off the bumper like you've practiced 400 times. You force the door with the Halligan. The line charges. You move. The heat finds your ears first and your knees second, and you keep your head below the smoke layer, because the journeyman taught you that on day 3. You stop flinching when the radio cracks. After knockdown comes overhaul, pike pole through ceiling, looking for hidden fire, eating drywall dust through your filter. You write the report at the station kitchen table at midnight, and the captain proofs it before it goes anywhere. You scored 83 on the policy exam. 80 was passing. The captain initials the line. You're released to full field status the next shift, and the journeyman buys the coffee. Level 3. The Firefighter and EMT. You're a line firefighter now, all EMT trained, and 74% of your calls are medical. The top step on the firefighter pay schedule is $10,529 a month. The truck carries an AED, a BLS bag, salvage covers, a thermal imaging camera, and a Halligan that lives by the cab door. Your shift is fragmented in a way nobody warns you about. A chest pain call at 7:42 a.m., a lift assist at 9:15, a false alarm at a high-rise at 11, an overdose in a parking garage at 2 p.m. You assess airway, breathing, circulation, mental status, and you radio it to incoming medics in 30 seconds or less. You stop counting the runs. The journeyman is on your engine. He made apparatus driver last year, and now he sits behind the wheel while you ride the back step. The make-or-break call comes on a March night, an apartment fire on the 3rd floor of a 4-story walk-up. The captain calls fast attack and goes inside with you. You stretch the line up the stairwell and through the front door. The smoke layer is at your knees, then at your boots, then on the floor. You lose the wall. For 4 seconds, you don't know which way is out. You feel the line in your gloved hand. You follow the coupling backwards, hand over hand, the way the journeyman drilled into you on a quiet Sunday at the training tower 6 months ago. You find the door. You find the captain. You find the hallway, the line knocks the bedroom, and the captain calls the all clear. The primary search hits 2 occupants, both alive, both out the window onto the truck's ladder. You don't talk on the ride back. You restock the bag, gauze, gloves, oxygen masks, an AED pad you didn't use this time but might use in an hour. The captain pulls you aside in the bay. He doesn't say good job. He says you followed the line. And he walks away. That sentence is the only one you remember from the whole tour. The next morning, the chief sends a department-wide email about the rescue. Your name is in it. 2 months later, the journeyman recommends you for the paramedic register. He doesn't tell you he did it. You find out from the training captain, who hands you the application across the kitchen table at 6 a.m. You sign it before you finish your coffee. Level 4. The Firefighter and Paramedic. Medic 1. You needed at least 2 years on the department to apply. The training is a year long, run under Harborview's medical director, and the paramedic premium adds 17 to 18.5% to your base. You carry a LIFEPAK-15 monitor defibrillator, a Lucas 3 chest compression system, an ALS bag, and a documentation tablet that follows you on every call. After training, you owe 50 hours of medical education every year, forever. The classroom never closes. The cardiac arrest comes in on a Saturday at 11:48 p.m., a man on a kitchen floor in a 1-bedroom apartment. The BLS engine got there first and started compressions. You walk in with the monitor and take the room without raising your voice. Pads on. Rhythm check. Shockable. You charge, clear, deliver. Compressions resume, the Lucas clicks into place on his chest, and the apartment fills with the sound of a piston that doesn't get tired. The wife is in the doorway. The journeyman, promoted to lieutenant on a different battalion now, is the engine officer tonight, and he runs the compressions rotation while you run the drugs. 12 lead. IV. Airway. You call medical control on the radio with a cadence the receiving doc trusts on the first sentence. The patient gets a pulse back at minute 14. You package, you load, you transport. The handoff at the hospital is 40 seconds long and contains every piece of information the receiving team needs and none they don't. The wife rides up front. You don't see her face on the way back. You restock the rig at 1:30 a.m. New oxygen tank, 3 IV catheters, 2 airway adjuncts, a roll of EKG paper. The lieutenant walks past, slaps the side of the medic unit twice, that's the whole conversation, and goes back to the engine. You chart for an hour. The chart is the medicine, the captain told you once, and at this level you finally believe him. Level 5. The driver and operator. The premium is 5 to 10% on top of base. The certification is a written and practical exam, every 6 months on the written, every 4 years on the full ride, and 100 addresses and intersections in your district that you have to know cold. You memorize them on shift while the rest of the crew watches television. You learn the rig by hand, pump panel, intakes, discharges, tank to pump, hydrant gate, deck gun, staying gun, the whole cockpit. The journeyman is a captain now, on your engine, calling size up while you spot the truck. The first big fire under your wheel is a commercial structure at 3 EM, a 1-story occupancy with smoke pushing under pressure from the front. You read the street before the rig stops. You leave room for the truck company. You take the plug yourself, lay 200 feet of supply line, charge the attack at 150 psi the way the captain calls it on the radio. The line goes wet. The captain takes the crew inside. You stay with the pump. The intake gauge bounces, the discharge holds, and the tank water buys you the 7 seconds you need before the hydrant water arrives. You stop checking the gauges every breath. Your hand finds them without looking. A second due engine arrives, and the operator on that rig, a guy you went through academy with, gives you the head nod across the street. You nod back. That's the whole exchange. The fire knocks in 14 minutes. You stand at the pump panel for another 90, watching pressures, listening for radio traffic, ready to push more water if the interior calls for it. The interior doesn't call for it. The captain transmits the all clear, then the loss stopped, then the under control. You shut down clean, drain the lines, and the rig rolls back to the station with no damage and no drama. In the bay, the captain doesn't say anything about the fire. He says you've got a good eye for placement. He walks into his office. You sit on the bumper for a minute longer than you need to. Level 6. The company officer. Lieutenant pay starts at $144,564. Captain at $164,616. You are the captain now. The crew looks to you for the first 90 seconds of every call, and the first 90 seconds determine the next 2 hours. You arrive at a working fire, and your size-up is on the radio in under 15 seconds. Building, conditions, action, strategy, command name. 2-story wood frame, smoke from side Charlie, fast attack, engine 14 has command. The crew is moving before you finish the sentence because they've heard you say it 300 times. The journeyman, a battalion chief now, white helmet, command vehicle, arrives 9 minutes in, and you transfer command face-to-face on the front lawn. Conditions, plan, deployment, accountability, resources. He nods once. You go back inside as Division 2. You write the report at the station that night and proof it before the chief sees it. The lieutenant under you fumbles a radio call on the next shift, and you correct him in the bay, not in front of the crew the way it was done for you. You sign his evaluation at the end of the quarter. He passes. The 5 a.m. alarm doesn't wake you anymore. You wake before it, and the truck is already yours. Level 7. The command officer. Battalion chief starts at $185,400. Deputy chief, $211,848. Assistant chief tops out at $309,775. The Seattle Fire Chief Band runs $88.69 to $141.91 an hour. In California, an Orange County Battalion chief cleared $435,476 in total wages in 2024, and a San Bernardino assistant chief cleared $457,625. The white helmet is yours. You went through the 5-day 40-hour Battalion Chief Academy before they let you ride solo. You arrive at incidents in a command vehicle, not on an engine. The tools on your desk are an ICS 201 form, a tactical worksheet, an accountability board, and a staffing roster with vacancies the city won't backfill until next budget cycle. The Mayday call comes once in a career if you're unlucky and twice if you're not. When it comes, you isolate the channel, you call PAR, you launch the rapid intervention crew, and you keep the original fire from getting bigger while you find your missing firefighter. You don't yell on the radio. The radio is the architecture of the incident, and the architecture has to hold. You stop reading the news after fires in other cities. You read the NEOS reports instead. The lieutenant you broke in on Engine 14 is a captain now, on a different battalion. You sign his promotion paperwork on the same desk where yours was signed. The truck you washed at 5 a.m. on your first day is parked in the same bay with a different number on the door. There are 33 stations across 6 battalions in this city, and you've worked in most of them. The recruit on shift this morning is 22 years old and standing in the bay at 5 a.m. washing a different truck because the senior guy told her to, and the senior guy doesn't ask twice. She doesn't know your name yet. She will. The captain who corrected your radio voice on day 1 retired 4 years ago, and his retirement card is pinned to the corkboard in the kitchen, next to a photo of a class she hasn't joined yet. You walk past it on the way to your office. The Halligan you bent on a forcible entry in your second year sits on the shelf above your desk, the head still scarred from the door that took 3 swings. You kept it. It's the only piece of gear from that decade you kept. The pension math works out. You can leave whenever you want. You don't want to yet. The work is the same. You are not. The thing that scared you on the 3rd floor of a 4-story walk-up doesn't scare you anymore, because you followed the line out and you remember which way is out now, and you've taught 40 firefighters to do the same. The view from this office is a wall of radio traffic and a staffing spreadsheet, and on a quiet Tuesday at 6 a.m., with the coffee made and the bay lights on, it is exactly the view you wanted.